So let's dive right into this explainer. Look, if you've been anywhere near the headlines lately, you've seen the stories, right? Banking layoffs, clips of ChatGPT just churning out text at superhuman speeds, consulting partners casually dropping that, yeah, AI is doing all their first-round analysis now. It paints a pretty intense picture. Today, we're unpacking the existential threat facing traditional business education. But more importantly, we're going to talk about exactly what you can do to stay ahead of it. We're looking at the evolution of the MBA in the age of AI.
30%. Think about that for a second. Back in 2023, McKinsey threw out this stark prediction that nearly 30% of all knowledge work hours could be totally automated by the year 2030. And the wild part? It's not some distant sci-fi projection. It is happening right now. By 2025, Amazon's internal AI supply chain manager was already beating 40% of human MBAs in super complex tasks, things like route optimization and inventory allocation. AI isn't just, gently knocking at the door of elite knowledge work anymore. It has literally moved in and taken a desk.
Which brings us directly to the $200,000 question, literally. Is your incredibly expensive, highly prestigious MBA turning into a retro degree? Are we watching it go the way of learning shorthand or mastering the fax machine? Seriously, think about it. If AI can already tear through dense case studies, write completely flawless board-ready reports, and optimize logistics algorithms in the blink of an eye, what uniquely human value does a traditional MBA actually offer? That right there is the core dilemma we need to resolve today.
Well, the actual root of this problem lies in a really fascinating concept called strategic inversion. See, traditional MBA training heavily leans on data-driven decisions, strictly structured frameworks like SWOT, operational efficiency, the whole 9 yards. But hold on, those are the exact things AI does faster and cheaper. The real danger here actually isn't that AI just replaces you outright, it's complacency. It's what happens when MBAs treat AI as this trusty co-pilot that just does their thinking for them. Because when everyone feeds the exact same market data into the exact same large language models, guess what? Everyone gets the exact same optimal answer. Strategy completely collapses into this homogenized, super predictable path. The result? Absolutely zero competitive advantage. Let's look at a practical, everyday example to put this into perspective. Traditionally, a second-year MBA at a top-tier school might take, say, 2 full weeks to grind out a comprehensive market entry strategy, blood, sweat, and lots of spreadsheets. But today, an AI tool like AlphaSense partnered up with ChatGPT-4 can spit out a 50-page strategy, completely fleshed out with financial models in just 4 hours. 4 hours! This stark contrast basically proves that relying purely on those traditional frameworks to prove your worth, that's a losing game. AI simply crushes it on speed and cost.
So this leaves us with a rather, let's be honest, anxiety-inducing question. If AI hands your company, and literally all of your competitors, the exact same best answer, how on earth do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace? It's a totally valid source of career anxiety, for sure, but don't panic just yet. This is exactly where we pivot from the doom and gloom to the actual solutions. And it turns out there are 2 radically different but deeply complementary ways you can evolve. Okay, solution number 1. Top business schools, we're talking Wharton, INSEAD, they are quietly piloting this right now. It's dubbed the anti-AI MBA track. Now, the goal here isn't to be a Luddite and reject technology. No, it's to deliberately master everything AI is terrible at. First up, ambiguity engineering. AI hates fuzzy goals and emotional stakeholders. It just can't compute them. So you learn to frame really messy problems, like, designing a regenerative supply chain in a collapsing local economy. AI can't touch that because the goal itself is totally paradoxical. Second, creative constraint sparks. The idea here is you ask AI for 100 generic solutions, and your job is to sift through the noise and find the one brilliant, non-obvious angle it completely missed, like using a strategic loss leader to build genuine community trust. And finally, bias audits. You essentially train to become the chief AI skeptic officer. You're the one questioning the hidden assumptions, like flagging when a model completely ignores an informal local economy just because it was only trained on Western data. So it really comes down to this one crucial distinction. Does simply avoiding AI's answers make you irrelevant? Or does knowing exactly when to break those answers make you completely irreplaceable? Think about it. Mastering AI's blind spots and having the guts and the human judgment to actually step in and override it, that is exactly what separates a highly replaceable worker from an absolutely essential leader. Which leads us perfectly into solution number 2, evolving into a hybrid creative operator. Now, this is built around what we call the 3 C's framework, and it basically shines a massive spotlight on exactly what AI lacks. The first C is conflict. AI assumes negotiators are perfectly rational beings. We all know that's not true. Humans are emotional, we're status-driven. An MBA who can step into a room and de-escalate a late-night, high-stakes team conflict, that provides immense, unautomatable value. Second is context. AI cannot read a room. It misses unspoken cultural cues and completely whiffs on office politics. A human MBA, though, can sense when a board member says yes, but their body language is screaming, "not a chance," and then pivot accordingly. Third is curiosity. Look, AI is just an optimizer of existing paths. It rarely asks impossible questions. A human is the one who asks those lateral what-if questions, like how do we sell ice to the Inuit, but actually do it ethically? That kind of leap requires pure human imagination.
Let's actually see how this plays out in the real world with a quick mini case study of a fintech startup. So they had this pure AI fraud detection system, right? And on paper, it was 99% accurate. Amazing, but it had a massive glaring blind spot. It was primarily trained on urban data. Because of that, totally legitimate accounts from rural India kept getting frozen left and right. Well, a human MBA spotted this contextual failure, and she didn't just go in and tweak the algorithm, no. She implemented a human override tier using local agents. The outcome of that human touch? She saved 12,000 customers, dropped complaints by a whopping 70%, and frankly, earned herself a VP promotion in the process. The AI never saw the human consequence of its own bias, but she did.
Okay, let's time jump a few years into the future. Let's look at 2028. By then, your new job title probably won't be consultant or brand manager. You are going to be a generative strategist, and you won't just be logging into one tool. Your core superpower will be acting as this master conductor, orchestrating a whole swarm of AI tools. Think GPT-5, Midjourney, AutoGPT, you name it, all working together to solve massive, complex meta-problems. But remember, the magic doesn't actually happen in the tools themselves. It happens in how you, the human, guide them.
This shift requires a completely new workflow, and it's built around what we call human injection points. These are the exact critical moments where your human judgment has to interrupt the AI swarm. Step 1, problem framing. Look, before the AI even touches a single byte of data, you have to decide what question is actually worth asking in the first place. Step 2, constraint challenging. Once the AI splits out an answer, you have to look at it and ask, okay, which of these assumptions should we break on purpose to actually stand out? And step 3, maybe the most important, ethical final sign-off. You take the moral responsibility for the final decision, especially when it's going to impact real human beings. AI can't go to jail, and it can't feel guilt. You can.
Let's apply this to a really tough, complex challenge. A mid-sized, family-owned retailer trying to somehow compete with Amazon. Now, the pure AI solution, it's going to say, slash costs, completely automate the warehouse, and blast the internet with programmatic ads. Sure, it works for a quarter, but pretty soon competitors just copy that exact same AI-generated playbook and everyone's margins crash to zero. Boom. But compare that to the generative strategist approach. She uses AI to dig deep and find a micro-community of vintage watch collectors who actually hate Amazon's cold, impersonal interface. Then, she designs a concierge service. The AI handles the messy inventory backend? Absolutely. But humans? Humans execute the front end with handwritten notes and private buying events. The result? Customer retention literally doubles. She designed the soul of a business, and by doing that, she created a competitive moat that an AI simply cannot copy.
And if you want the cold, hard financial proof of why this works, that approach drove a 31% increase in margins. 31%! Well, everyone else in the market raced straight to the bottom on price because they were following the exact same automated AI advice. This MBA utilized technology to empower genuine human relationships, and that drove massive financial value that pure, unadulterated automation missed entirely.
I really want you to remember this phrase, okay? The future belongs to MBAs who see artificial intelligence not as a threat, but as a stupid genius. A stupid genius. It is absolutely a brilliant pattern finder, an unbelievable route optimizer, and an incredible text generator. But let's be real, it is entirely helplessly stupid about meaning, about purpose, emotion, ethics, and the whole beautiful mess of human context. Your job? Your job is to be the human mind that directs that stupid genius toward the problems that actually matter. Which brings us to a final, pretty powerful provocation to leave you with. What is the one decision AI could never make in your industry? And I'm not talking about picking which spreadsheet template to use. I mean the deep decision, the one that involves heavy moral weight, broken logic, or a totally impossible trade-off. Because identifying and owning that single question, that is your new career.
The best MBA in 2028 isn't going to be the one who codes the fastest prompt. It's going to be the one who knows exactly when to rip up the prompt entirely. I would absolutely love to hear from you on this. Head down to the comments and describe just one problem in your day-to-day job that AI simply cannot solve, even if it had unlimited data. Let's build a whole library of AI-proof challenges together. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep asking those impossible questions.